In the summer of 1955, the world-famous Marilyn Monroe had something to prove. She and her photographer went down to the New York subway, approached the platform, and began to wait for the train. The photographer was very careful not to let anyone see her. For all that time that they spent in a noisy subway full of people, no one has not recognized the favorite of millions. But when they went outside, Monroe turned to her photographer, said, "Do you want to see her?" And after a little ruffled her hair, a little changed her pose, and at that moment, as if by magic, people started to notice her. Instantly, hundreds of passers-by gathered around her, all asking for her autograph, and she smiled very wryly, attracting her like a magnet. So what did Monroe did such that in an instant she, from the usual unremarkable woman, turned into a bright star? Simply put, she turned on the charisma. Charisma was the magnet that changed Marilyn's aura in an instant. Think about it. What exactly do Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King, Steve Jobs, Winston Churchill, and Princess Diana have in common? Each of them was engaged in completely different activities, had different appearance and goals. But one thing united them: they were all extremely charismatic people. And it is that in no small part played a role in their formation and in what heights they have achieved. Although many perceive charisma as a quality that is given from birth, Olivia Fox Cobain, in his book, Charisma: How to Influence, Persuade, and Inspire, in great detail, reveals the secrets of how to become a charismatic person, and this to influence people. There are 3 types of charismatic behavior, and depending on which behavior you have more developed, you can become the embodiment of one of the 4 types of charismatic behavior. The types of charismatic behavior are as follows. First, presence. This type of behavior is when you are most focused on the person you are talking to, or the business you are engaged in. It is a second-by-second awareness of what you are doing and what you are saying. Have you ever noticed people who are intensely focused on something? Like doctors during surgery or a soccer player before a penalty kick? They always leave a very strong impression. You can see that they are in the moment and understand the importance of their action. And imagine such presence during a conversation with someone, when the person understands that you are all in attention and for you at the moment. This dialogue is the most important thing that can be. Such behavior, especially these days, can have a very strong influence on others. The second is warmth. Simply put, it is benevolence towards other people. To be warm means to be perceived as caring, expressing a desire to positively influence the world. Think of the people around you who are genuinely interested in how you are doing and listen and respond carefully and try to help you, or the people who are talk inspiringly about what they're doing or how they want to change the world for the better. Surely these people evoke positive feelings in you. Why is that? Because these people evoke the strongest feelings of protection and care. Evolution has taught us to be around those who are willing to protect and care. In order to make sure of this, look at a grown man who plays or teaches something to small children. Almost always, it causes strong positive emotions, and we already like this person. Third force is one of the most effective types of charismatic behavior, which is the most difficult to develop in themselves. With this behavior, your interlocutor every moment feels that you are absolutely sure that you say what you want, and you cannot be confused. People with power behavior are never in a hurry. They speak slowly and very thoughtfully. Often near them, you feel apprehension, although they do not do anything negative and are not bad people. When used correctly, this kind of behavior have a very strong influence depending on which of these types of behavior you have, and which are more predominant. You can be one of the 4 types of charismatic people we're going to talk about. But whatever charisma you choose, there are some universal tips that will definitely make you more charismatic. First of all, don't be in a hurry. Any charisma kills sumptuousness and haste. Watch your body language, do not twitch your legs, speak more slowly, and do not interrupt the person. Remember a simple rule. Start talking only after 2 seconds as the interlocutor finishes talking. Second, be calm and concentrated. If you are talking to someone, try to absorb their words and do not think about anything else. If you do some work, then concentrate on the work, be sure. From the outside, such people always leave a strong impression. Third, Try to look at yourself from the outside as you sit, how you look like. Not too often you nod your head, what is your posture? As soon as, during a dialogue with someone, you look at yourself from the outside, you will automatically straighten up, become in a more confident posture, and generally look better. Well, now let's move on to the 4 types of charisma that can possess and you. First, power charisma. The basis of this charisma is the behavior of power, and some behavior of presence to people. With power charisma can be listed in Winston Churchill or Margaret Thatcher. You can like them or not agree with them or not, but they leave a strong impression of apprehension and some depression. In communication, such charisma has long been ideal for politicians and leaders. Also, such charisma helps in critical situations and during crisis management. And how to achieve it? The intonation of the voice should always be a little low. Do not rush when you speak. Hold a pause before you start to project an unshakable belief that you can influence the situation. A very big role in the power charisma play attributes: classic monochrome clothing, minimalism, confident body language without frequent changes in posture, minimal gestures and emotions. The second type of charismatic person is a benevolent charisma. The basis of this charisma behavior of warmth. To people with benevolent charisma can be attributed the Dalai Lama, Princess Diana, and Barack Obama. Such people cause warmth and approval, even if they are wrong and do something negative. You find it hard to believe that it was from evil. You think that the person did something from the best motives. Such people create an emotional connection and desire to help him achieve his goals. It is this type of charisma is now often used by image makers of the new generation of politicians, and often very successfully. In order to achieve benevolent charisma, it is important to communicate and show concern, agreement, and show that your values are very much linked to a desire for positive change, whether in the world or in your interlocutor. You must be able to create empathy to show how you care about the person, sometimes recognizing their mistakes sincerely rather than regret. It is important to work on the voice to make it warmer and softer. Imagine how the right parents speak to their children when teaching them something or telling them something. This is the voice to strive for. Of course, you cannot overdo it and appear condescending, or not putting the other person in a serious note of parental concern should be. Also, an important role plays a look when talking or listening to the person. Sometimes mentally repeat to yourself, "I really want you to succeed, and that you would be all right." This phrase alone is enough. The next type of charisma is focused charisma. Its basis is presence behavior. To the people of focused charisma accurately belong Mahatma Gandhi and Lee Kuan Yew and Elon Musk. Such people bring attention and understanding to people. With that kind of charisma, you feel respect. Because when you're talking to them, you realize that at that moment, that conversation is the most important thing to that person. Agree, we all want to feel important, and it is focused charisma helps your interlocutor to feel important and valuable. And if so, you will always be drawn to this kind of people. This kind of charisma is one of the most easily accessible to each of us to develop it. Need during the conversation to establish eye contact, less to translate views and try to ask questions to say more. Your interlocutor, they, you. The main thing is not to overdo it so that interest does not become too intrusive and questions do not become interrogation. Also strengthen this charisma, that when you during the conversation sometimes a little nod your head and express micro emotions on your face, depending on what your interlocutor says. And the last is inspirational charisma, and its basis is the behavior of warmth and strength. Such charisma possessed Freddie Mercury, Martin Luther King, and Steve Jobs. This is one of the strongest but at the same time difficult types of charisma because it is very difficult to develop, and if you do not have a strong value that you want to carry in the world. People with such charisma inspire us with confidence and sometimes even recklessness. Such people are not afraid to go into the unknown, and that is why they change the world more often than not. If you want to radiate inspiring charisma first, you must always be confident in what you do and say. Your goals and desires should be ambitious and filled with absolute conviction nobility. You should often ignore talking about something unimportant And do not waste your energies on convincing or persuading someone, as it may not sound, but this charisma amplifies your charisma. This charisma is enhanced by a certain disregard for the emotions, reactions, and desires of individuals. What charisma suits you depends on your personality, character, and goals. But whatever charisma you want to develop in yourself, use the tool of visualization. Our brain is amazing. It has not only to memorize, but also at the right moment to use what it has learned, and it can do it on automatic. So, for the visualization tool to work, you must do 2 steps. Step number 1, remember all the famous people, movie characters, and heroes who have the same charisma that you want to develop. Periodically watch video movies and interviews of these people and write out every aspect that you think projects the charisma you want to possess: posture, intonation, facial expressions of words, all elements that can work. For example, if you want to build inspirational charisma, then watch Martin Luther King's famous "I Have a Dream" speech. Notice how his tone of voice changes, where he pauses and where his speech gets a little faster, or how he looks sideways and up diagonally when talking about a dream. This is a powerful element to show that you have gone deep inside yourself to reach out and reveal something intimate. Step number 2. Close your eyes and imagine that you are using these elements that you have written down. Which ones will work for you where you can use them to build your confidence? Let's take the example of Martin Luther King and his upward diagonal gaze. Imagine that you are at a business meeting. You are asked about some plans. You suddenly go into yourself. Start talking with the intonation of dreamers. Look somewhere in the upper corner of the room. Agree, it will look very strange, to say the least. Rather, you will seem like an unserious person. Well, now imagine that you are on a date. The person with whom you are on a date asks you about your plans for life or values. And now you just as well introduce a look somewhere in the distance. Wait a couple of seconds. Begin to slowly talk about goals, plans, and values. Believe me, if you do it right, it will have a very strong effect on the person. Whatever charisma you want to develop in yourself, don't forget it to enjoy the process. The most charismatic people I have seen in my life were those who either enjoyed what they were doing or enjoyed what they were striving for. If you have at least a little of this knowledge, you already attract people to you and influence their lives. Share this video with those you care about, and don't forget to subscribe for more content.